y'all. Welcome to Voices of Reason. My name is Justin, and we also have another very special guest. He can introduce himself, you know what I mean? Or I can introduce him. His name is James Eaglefeather. And how you doing today,
How's it going?
I'm good, man.
Man, I appreciate you having me here, man. This is a nice studio, man. This is like professional.
Don't even worry about it, man. It's free, man. You know what I'm saying?
When I first walked in, I was like, man, I should be real nervous right now because everything here, professional. I love it.
People thought we was working out of a basement.
That's what I thought. I thought I was going to have to go through somebody's grandma's kitchen. But no, this is nice.
Oh, man, you didn't have to smell no greens burning, man. You know what I'm saying? What y'all doing at that corner on the cob? No. Oh, man.
But my name's Eaglefeather. I am a motivational speaker. I'm a writer. And I'm here to promote 2 of my books and to promote my webpage, which is eaglefeatherempire.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, kind of want to, ease the people in and let them know, what had you start? What made you start being an author or a motivational speaker? You could pick one. You have a lot of titles.
Well, let me just get this out there right now. I spent 18 and a half straight years in prison. I went in when I was 18, didn't get out till I was 37. So I had a lot of free time on my hands. And from my first 7 years of incarceration, I got into a lot of trouble. And in 2005, I was in cell block 220. Those of you who don't know, I was in Fort Madison, which is a maximum security penitentiary, 22 hours a day lockdown. So cell block 220 is long-term incarceration, long-term solitary confinement. So I was in there, and they said I had threatened a guard. And the guards are like a brotherhood. You threaten one, you threaten them all. So they made my life a living hell. I was starving because before they gave me the food through the food slot, they're spitting it in front of me. Just give me eye contact, spitting it. And so I went a long time without eating. They shut off my water. They kept messing with me. I was physically assaulted 2 times. So during that time, I had a real nervous breakdown to the point where I was hallucinating, seeing things, hearing things. And from that, I realized that they couldn't break me. I couldn't be broke. And so from there, that's when I was like, man, I can't blame them because my actions got me here in the first place. Now, mind you, I was 25 years old at the time, had already been incarcerated for 7 years. But my first 7 years of incarceration was hard because of me. I went in acting a fool, didn't care about anything, and I realized, man, everything that I'm going through was because of me. So I had to make that change. And so I had this spiritual awakening. It didn't happen overnight, big bro. Yeah. It didn't, because when I got out of solitary confinement, I was still found myself in some trouble, physical altercations.
First off, I do have to respect that you acknowledge your wrongdoings.
Yeah.
That is utmost respect. You know what I'm saying? That's for anybody, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. For you to sit there and just accept what you did, that is utmost respect.
It was because of me, and if I had to change my situation, it had to start with me. And so from there, I started writing, started doing poetry, started doing music, and decided, look, I'm not gonna be that guy anymore. And then when I got out, I seen a lot of the young youth going down the same path I was. I was like, nah, little bro, come here, let me talk to you. And that's when I became a mentor, and I love it.
Okay.
I absolutely love it.
Okay, so when it comes to, seeing our community, because a lot of things always have a huge impact, what I mean, whether it's just local, national, or global. And, we seen that foremost last year.
Yes,
what I mean?
absolutely.
But it always starts at home.
It starts at home.
If you was to start cleaning up at home, what would be the first thing you would aim towards?
That is a heavy question. And that is heavy. There's a lot of people out there way more intelligent than I am to answer that. However, if I was to start in my home, I believe first and foremost, it has to start with education. It has to start with teaching the youth what is real pain, what is real hurt, and what is thrown onto us by social media. There's a lot of things I see. Now, this is me speaking. This is not him. This is me speaking. I believe a lot of things are thrown onto us that are blown out of proportion. Oh, you should feel this way about that. I don't feel that way about that. So I would teach the youth, first and foremost, this is real hurt, this is real pain, this is real history. This is what they want us to feel. This is because they're trying to guide the narrative. They're trying to tell us how we feel and we should react a certain way.
Yeah, I feel like that's like they're trying to push you, pressure you to understand the wrongdoings of what they did to make it seem like it was right. Does that make any sense?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, so
I feel it, big bro. I
like,
do.
okay, so the education part. There are smart criminals. I'm just going to be honest with you. Yeah, see, there are smart criminals out there.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to the education and you trying to teach the young ones, are you going to teach them in a way to where they don't have to take it to the negativity side of the field, or can they do it to keep it on the positive side of the field to make sure that we can all grow as one and be better?
I absolutely love that question.
Oh.
I do. That's a good question.
I freestyled that.
That was good. That was good. Here's why. Everybody's constantly learning. Now, I can only speak from my personal experience. When I first went to the penitentiary, again, I was in Fort Madison. So I was in there with serial killers, serial rapists. I was in there with people who killed judges, killed prosecuting attorneys, who knew how to make bombs, who knew how to counterfeit money. So when I first went in, I had a thirst for knowledge. And so anything that was readily available was all negative. And I started soaking up that knowledge. I started eating it up. And before long, I learned how to make pipe bombs. I learned how to make counterfeit money. Of course, this was the old counterfeit money. You can't do that with the new one. I have no clue what I'm doing now. Hey, government, look. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. But when I first went to the penitentiary, I soaked up all that knowledge because people learn every day. Now, to go in line with your question, children, they learn all the time. Now, it's easy to suck up that negative education, but you gotta make them understand that it's all about risk and reward. And that's what I learned in Cell Block 220, that a lot of things we do, like the last brother said, it's easy to do wrong, it's hard to do good. So when you're soaking up that knowledge, it's all about risk and reward. So sometimes the reward is not worth the risk. Like the crimes that made me lose 18 and a half years of my life, that wasn't worth it, big bro, because that's time I can never get back. So when you're educating these kids, you have to show them the good path. Now, I don't care how good of a parent you are, it takes two. It takes a man and a woman to raise a child to get that balance in their life. Exactly. But if you're a single mother, your job's gonna be twice as hard, and you have to understand that no matter how good you try, how hard you tried, their friends will have the biggest impacts on how they think, how they grow mentally, their mentality. So try to teach them or educate them on who's good for them and who's not good for them.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that one.
Now, I hope I answered that question because that was a good question. Yeah. That was good. That was.
I appreciate that, man. So, you being the mentor, what steered you to be an author? Was it the same mentality, or was it the same pressure? Was it the same force? Something that was like, okay, if I can't talk to these kids literally, I'm gonna put it down on paper,
Bruh, there's some good questions.
Sorry, man.
Ask me about the weather. Something I ain't got to think about.
Dude, this Nebraska is cold.
Yes, man, this weather here is weird.
It's weird.
But what caused me to write is because I was incarcerated with a man who had killed 3 people. And he was telling me his story. And I was like, man, you should put that in the book. He's like, well, everybody got a story to tell. And he was like, no matter who you are, what you do, you have a story to tell. No matter how boring it may seem, it could touch somebody's life. Now, there are some people out there with a greater story to tell who could touch more lives. So with my childhood, the way I was brought up, a lot of the trouble I got into, the path I took, all that led me to be incarcerated, losing 18 years of my life. I'm not gonna quit saying that because that's what made me
a huge chunk of your life, man.
Huge chunk of my life. But again, it was those, I forgot the question.
You did?
I did.
No.
I'm not high. I'm not drunk.
It's fine.
Okay.
I was just saying, like, how you put it.
Okay, what caused me to be a writer?
No,
Everybody.
that one is for like, you know how you speak to the kids as
Yeah.
a mentor.
Yeah.
As you speak to them, some kids are just hard headed.
Yeah,
So I feel like
I was one of them.
Was it that part that made you want to write to be an author to try to reach out to them?
No, actually, they're not exclusive. I started
they're
writing.
not?
I started writing before I became a mentor. It wasn't until I came out here and saw the kids. I remember, like you said, I was that hard-headed kid. I was hard-headed. I had a lot of people that believed in me because I got a extraordinary high IQ.
Okay.
But at the time, I didn't know what that was because I was mostly influenced by the gang culture, the street culture. So I wasn't listening. I didn't know what IQ was. I didn't even care. But they saw the potential in me.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't listen to them because, man, you went to college. You wasn't raised on the streets. You don't know what it's like to have alcoholic parents, drug addicted. You don't know what it's like to be surrounded by drugs, gang culture. You went to college. You lived in this bubble. So it was hard for me to relate to them, let alone them to relate to me. So getting out here, I remember the first person I met, he was a youngster, and he was only 15 years old, and he had already been shot 2 times. Now, he was a survivor, he's a fighter, but I saw that spark in him that he wanted to leave, but he just didn't know how. Now, he's been through the mental hospitals, the detention center, stuff like that, with all these people who cannot relate to him, trying to tell him, you should do this, you should do that. You can't relate. So I remember taking a young brother aside, and I started talking to him, and at first he was standoffish. I was like, bruh, I've been there. I've been you. And I took him out to eat and slowly started opening up to me. And that's when he started telling me a story because I could relate to it. I'm like, look, man, I lived in Tommy Rose. I lived in Marriott Projects. I lived in Spencer. I've been there. My mom was on Section 8, so we moved around constantly. I've been to Wakanda, Saratoga, Conestoga. I've been there. So I know where you come from. I've been there. I haven't been to college. I haven't been to Penn State. I've been to State Penn. You like that? I work that in.
Switch that around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little bit of laughter.
But I've been there so I could relate, and then we slowly started talking, man, and I constantly pray. I'm a spiritual person too, so I constantly pray for that young brother, man, but he got so much potential. He's an artist, and so much potential, and I want to see him succeed so bad.
I think he'll make it too. So let's get to the books. The first book, what was the first one you wrote?
Spiritual Warfare. I wrote this while in Cell Block 220. Again, it started with my mental breakdown. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been haunted by senseless tragedy all my life. If it wasn't one thing, it was another. And I was taken out the home at the age of 8. So when you go through a system where they don't know you, they don't understand you, you stick out like a sore thumb. And because you stick out like a sore thumb, people are gonna look at you differently. I went to different schools when I was in foster homes, so I had to go to like Wake Forest. I was the only person of color in that whole school. And because I was a foster kid, the teachers, they made me know, systematic racism. I don't blame them. I understand now, so I don't blame them. I get the system they was working in. However, the actions I made from that time is strictly on me. But, so I've been through the foster homes, I've been through the group homes, I've been through the juvenile penitentiaries, the juvenile detention centers, and navigating through that world, it was hard. It was hard.
It was like a spiritual jungle, you want to say.
Yeah.
So that's why you came with the spiritual warfare.
Spiritual warfare, about nightmares I used to have.
Okay.
And Spiritual Warfare, the book itself, is about a teenager trying to understand the definition of love. He knows what's right, he knows what's good, but he has a culture that's trying to get him sucked off into drug dealing, robbery, and that's what this is about. This is about the street culture. This is about things that we go through as children. Now, we know and we understand what it is to do right. We all have this spiritual calling in us. We all have this moral compass in us where we know what's good and what's right, but a lot of times that is outdone by the voices of our peers. And so this is his struggle that eventually led him to prison. And that's when he had this spiritual awakening, like, wait a minute, where did I go wrong in my life? And he started traversing the different decisions he made and how which decisions were his influenced by what he felt in his heart, and what decisions was influenced by the gang culture.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be a tough one right there. Man, I like that. That's what's up.
And this one, The Lost Mayan, I wanted to introduce the softer side of who I am, so it's a historical romance novel. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. He went from the spiritual warfare.
Went from hood to being romantico.
Hey man, that's gifted though. You know what I mean? That means your mind is not set on just
No, it's not. I refuse to be pigeonholed. I got so many projects in the works right now. Everything dealing from zombies, the zombie apocalypse, because I want to show the broad spectrum of who and what I am, because I'm not just that one person. I'm not that person you see, oh, he did a lot of time in the penitentiary. That means he's rugged and rough. No, I got a softer side.
I can see that. So, love novel, like
Historical love romance novel.
historical.
Historical.
So it's not like modern times.
No, actually, this took place before the arrival of the Europeans. So they still have bows and arrows and lances, spears, things of that nature.
Things that can still kill you. Okay. It's all weapons. So it takes place way back then.
It took place before the arrival of the Europeans.
Oh man,
Yeah.
dang. So that one's gonna be deep.
Take
'Cause,
it-
you
take
know,
it way
around
back.
that time, to me personally, I don't know. I wasn't there, but I feel like the love connection was a little stronger.
It had to be stronger because back then all you had was each other.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I related, because we could only write what we know.
Yeah.
So the main character name was Tall Eagle, and all he had was his people. And it's like that in the penitentiary. So I was able to relate the two. In prison, when I first went there, I was still gang banging, so I was running with under different flags. But after I had my spiritual awakening, I had to start leaning more towards the Native American side. And the Native Americans, it's a small circle, real small, but we was formidable. Why? Because we had our culture, we had our language, and we had our ceremonies that held us tight. And because even though our numbers were small, we were still tight because we had that bond. And each group, whether it was the Vice Lords, the GDs, even the Aryan Brotherhoods, the Klan, they all had that tight knit, that tight bond. Because in order to navigate the penitentiary and the underworld and the different groups, you had to be tight knitted. And that's one of the things I was able to translate from modern day into that time. So they did love hard. You had to love hard because all y'all had was each other to depend on. When the world was against you, all you had was each other, so you had to love hard.
Okay.
And that's one thing that's one thing I'm trying to get out here, trying to get in the position where these are my people, and we out here making this money, depending on each other, loyalty, faithfulness.
That's tough right there.
Yeah.
So, like as far as future aspects, are you planning on writing any more novels? Are you
Yes,
planning on
absolutely.
having any more speeches
Yeah.
available?
I deliver speeches. Sometimes they're at colleges, sometimes they're at libraries. I'm a part of a group called Toastmasters. Matter of fact, shout out to my mentor, Floyd. I'm not sure if she's gonna see this, but if she does, I appreciate everything she's done for me.
Okay.
I don't care what anybody say, you can't do it alone. You can't. You need somebody in your corner, and she was there. She was my cheerleader. She's like 77, 78 years old, and she's like 4 foot tall. So she's like my little bitty cheerleader. She's like, you can do it, Eagle Feather. And she has set up a lot of the speeches that I've done across the city. It's because of her. She has a connection. She knows a lot of people. She's been around for a while, and she's been a part of that Toastmasters group for a while. So she was able to set up different speaking venues for me. And
That's dope.
if it wasn't because of her, man, I'd still be delivering speeches in my bathtub while showering.
Okay. So it's this question is relevant, but kind of off of it. You know what I'm saying? When you first did your first speech, how did you feel? Did you just feel the comfort like it was calling, or, were you a little nervous, or, cause for instance, for me being on here interviewing you,
Yeah.
like I said, my first interview, I was sweating. You see where the light shining right now?
Yeah, it's
Water
gleaming.
just coming down.
It's like, bing, yeah.
They thought it was raining, but it was I was just nervous at a point. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, how were you when you first did your first speech?
My first speech actually took place in the chapel of Fort Madison. Now, again, Fort Madison is a maximum security penitentiary. So I was standing in front of a group of certified killers, gangsters, thugs, stuff like that.
But those are still people.
They're still people, and they're still judging me.
Yep.
And I stood up, I looked around, and then, I don't know, about 5 minutes, I woke up. Because I fainted. I was out of there. No, I'm just playing big girl. No, I was nervous. There was a lot of sweating, a lot of shaking, but I found my comfort zone. Because if you understand and know what you're talking about, you're able to talk about it. And I was talking about myself, my experience. So I knew it. I knew the topic. And I had a general idea of my audience. So even though I was nervous, I was able to work through it.
That's dope.
But again, I was nervous. If my legs weren't so big, you probably hear them shaking.
Hey, I mean, because that comes with us, though, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Just like when you first ride a bike, you know, so you're nervous you're going to fall, you're nervous you're going to hit a tree.
Yeah. But the more you do it, the more comfortable you get.
Exactly, you know?
Yeah.
That's how life is, you know what I mean? So at a point in time, I know there comes to where people have to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I know that's very, very important, especially when you're delivering the speech. You know what I'm saying? So as far as like when your audience, like do you pick a certain audience to speak in front of?
One of the things I love about delivering public speeches, especially when it's sprung on me, is that sometimes I don't know what the audience, what they are. Okay. There's been times like when I delivered a speech at Iowa Central, they was professional business suits, and I am who I am. This is how I dress all the time, no matter where I'm going. This is who I am. And I haven't changed it for anybody. And even though people want me to wear suits and stuff like that, I don't think I'll be comfortable enough in my skin to wear one. And plus, the camera adds 10 pounds, so I can't stand an extra 10 pounds on this. So I try to wear black and things like that.
I get it.
So there's been venues where I was surrounded by professionals. You could tell they was business owners and stuff like that. But if the message is real, if the message is true, and it may not apply to everybody, but there's gonna be somebody in that audience that understands that struggle. It may not be the same struggle as them, but they recognize it, they understand it. And the bigger the audience, the more people that you can connect to. And I love feeding off the energy of the audience.
Yeah, that's a great thing, especially when you understand the energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what are your future projects that you have coming up?
Again, I'm working on my Eagle Feather Empire. I have some people, we're trying to work on our clothing line.
Okay.
Again, this is the logo, the eagle and the feather. One of the things is eagle feather is basically the Native American version of the yin and yang. You have the black and the white. You have the good, the dark, the masculinity, the femininity. You have everything from love to hate, and each one of those dwells in every single one of us. Okay. And so we have that yin and yang, or that eagle feather in us. So we're trying to work on that brand, and we're trying to do a lot of things. A lot of people from where we come from, they really don't read. So we're trying to get into that community where we're using humor, we're using memes, we're using gifts and things like that, just to bring recognition to the brand.
Okay. Hey, let the people know how to get in contact with you.
Right now, I'm broke, so I don't have a phone. No, I was playing. You can.
Well, you start cussing on TV.
The B word, broke. He taught me that. I like that. But you can always find me on eaglefeatherempire.com. That is the name of my webpage. Or you can look me up on Facebook under James Eagle Feather. That's my full name. You'll see this picture right there, profile picture. I'm also on Instagram, but I'm really not on there. I need to start expanding my horizon, because you need the 7 platforms of social media in order to promote yourself. So I gotta get used to Twitter. I have everything on there, and it's all under Eagle Feather Empire or something of the like. It has Eagle Feather and it has Empire somewhere in there, but on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, I'm on all of those. And I really need to get my game up, because that's how you promote. Everybody's on social media, but...
No, I was thinking about that, you know, saying I got to be on more social media, but, you know, I got kids on certain social medias, and really don't need them asking for $50 and $60 online, sending out the wrong message. Because people think I got it to give all the time.
Man, a lot of people think I'm doing better than what I am. I'm like, man, I'm still in the infant stage. I'm still making
maybe
baby
they see
steps.
maybe they see they feed off their energy. So, you know,
Yeah.
some people feed off their energy.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
maybe
What you see is they may see something different. You know what I mean? But, hey, man, I'd like to thank you for coming
Man,
today,
thank you for having me. This
no
is
problem, man.
beautiful, man. This I love it. The energy, the positivity,
Oh, yeah.
the professionalism. I love it.
Got to keep it that way, you know what I mean? But, you know, once again, I have to wrap this up, man. My name is Justin, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the show. Enjoy your day. Peace.